Lions, Tigers, Red Wings.
Now, we're from America, but this isn't New York City, or the Windy City, or Sin City, and we're certainly no one's Emerald City.
This is Detroit Sports.
This is the Motor City, and this is what we do.
Here are Steve Black and Sean Baligian.
Brother Sean.
What's up, Steve? How's vacation?
Oh, God. You ever been in the ocean and have a dolphin pop up like 15 feet from you?
No.
Wild. What a wild feeling.
I hope I get that feeling in a few days. I'm going to the other ocean, though, the other side.
Yeah, you're going Cali.
Yeah.
I was down in Fort Myers. Actually, funnily enough, I think I have some video so I can throw it up in the B-roll. It was windy as could be, though, but the ocean, so the waves are smacking you in the head. It was awesome.
Oh, that's
I love
too
being
cool.
out in the ocean that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I won't go up, but up to my ankles.
Yeah?
Terrified. Yeah. Just
not an ocean guy?
terrified.
Of what?
I'm Chief Brody. I am. I'm Chief Brody. Sharks in the water, Chief. No, I honestly, I don't like the way it smells. Anything. I love looking at it. I could sit on the beach like all day with 200 sunscreen and everything because I'm pale white. But honestly, it just ugh.
The guy we were with on Captiva Island, it was like his private home, his private beach. Chick and Kathleen are the couple. We're in there, and I see a dolphin. And I'm like, oh, my God, you see it's right there. He goes, you sure it was a dolphin? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I know what a dolphin looks like. He goes, okay, because there's an 18-foot hammerhead shark that hangs around here.
That's cool.
Now you tell me. I'm up to my shoulders.
Yeah.
And now you tell me about the shark.
Remember how I talked about going up to my ankles? It's not happening now. Now that I think about that, but no, yeah, you were that side. I'm going to California, a few days in Palm Springs, and then over to L.A. and then to take the kids to Disney. So, spoiled rotten kids. It's their second time, and they've already been to the other one too.
And will you tune into some playoffs while you're out there? Or will
yeah,
you skip
absolutely. The way that's a cool thing. The way it configures itself is literally 4:00 in the afternoon. I can just be chilling out at the cabana. Honestly, cool. You guys go do what you need to do. I'm just going to sit here and watch the games and everything because it's weird. You know how it is as you get older. Before I was in lockdown mode for the playoffs. It's just like, don't call me. You know where I am. If you really need something, then you can get a hold of me. And, as you get older, it just so happens that their little break in school, the Easter break and everything, is this week. So it was like, if we're going to go, we got to go now. So, but no, you're right. It's this is the best time of year. It just, I love the NHL playoffs. I know I'm talking to you, and you can, I still, for the life of me, I don't get why people aren't hockey fans. It just doesn't register to me. It has everything that people want. When you think about football for a second, football by far is number one in this country. It's the king, right?
And probably still number one in my heart in a lot of ways.
I think a lot of people feel that way. And I mean no disrespect to football. It's my number two, a clear number two. I do like college better than pro. But with that being said, what are the variables that people like about football? They like the speed. They like it's ferocious.
Yep,
They
violence.
like man-on-man hockey. I mean, honestly, there's so many variables, but I get it. People are regional, and you're not going to change a lot of people's minds. If they have a preconceived notion about something, how often have you seen somebody actually change their mind, especially we sports fans that are the most stubborn human beings on the face of the planet,
Yeah. Yeah, for me, and I think it's true to a lot of people, just like with music. It's what you grew up on is always going to be deeply rooted in your heart.
Yep.
It was IHL hockey, which I loved, but we were season ticket holders for the Flint Generals. So, of course, hockey's going to be in the blood. How could it not be when you spent so much time at the rink?
Yep.
But, for right now, the last 3-4 years have kind of switched more into pro football mode. But, I'm going to be watching. I'm definitely one of those people who will watch at least one, if not two games in every single series.
Love it.
In every series.
I think in recent years, especially in this era of the cap, and I think Ken Holland had a real good handle on it from day one. This is unlike us growing up, Steve, in the regard, I think people now accept as a fact, just get in. When you look at all the high seeds that have taken big runs, LA obviously won as an 8 and everything, but when Holland said a few years back the difference between 1 and 8 really isn't that big of a difference, it's true. I mean, when we were kids, those playoff upsets were a big deal because it didn't happen that often. Now it's almost like the shock value is just gone. It doesn't exist anymore because you've come to accept it. And the first round, I think, because of that, has just become phenomenal must-see television. It really has been.
How about a 1 and a 16? Because if we were to mix both conferences together, the top seed would be the Bruins and the bottom seed would be the Red Wings. So literally they're the 16th team to make it in, and the Bruins won the President's Trophy. And that's the matchup.
It's amazing.
In a way, it's a 116.
It's amazing how that works out. And I don't know about you. I really do think, and it's quite possible that your Team B could find themselves as your Team B is the Bruins. I hope I'm not narking on you. Do people know that?
I hope so.
Bruins
I've
fan?
never hid that.
No.
I've never hid that.
I think the two teams that match up best with the Bruins are the Red Wings and the Habs. I really do. And the reason for that, and this is why I'm kind of surprised, Steve, that more people aren't giving the Red Wings more of a chance from a national perspective, because I think when you think about it, what the Bruins do is the Bruins want you to play their game. I think the perfect example is like last year in that series against Pittsburgh, when they had Pittsburgh chasing them around and taking penalties, you could see them smiling like the butcher's dog.
Yeah.
You're playing their game. And the Red Wings and the Habs are two teams that can utilize their speed and discipline and not fall for it. And that's the key, I think, against the Bruins. Play your game. Frustrate them, not the other way around. And I think the Red Wings can do that. And I think, coincidentally, it's no surprise that, the Red Wings had the amount of success that they had this past season against the Bruins. They went 3-1 against them. And the Habs have used that formula so many times over in the past few years. I think people forget, even the year that the Bruins won the Stanley Cup going back to 2011, an undermanned Habs team gave them all they could handle. The Bruins had to use overtime in Game 7 and knock them off. So I really do think matchups are a part of it. The Red Wings match up well against the Bruins. They really do.
Matchups are key, but for me, when I looked at sort of the individual things, I got to take the Bruins in goaltending. Mm-hmm. I got to take the Bruins in defense.
Absolutely.
I take the Bruins in offense.
Yep.
I take the Bruins in special teams.
Yep.
I take the Bruins with home ice.
Yep.
The only obvious advantages I can see for the Red Wings would be team speed and coaching.
I think Claude Julien is a damn good coach, and I think he's shown that in Montreal. The thing in New Jersey still kind of makes me shake my head. What happened there? He had success, but obviously was jettisoned out of there. But I mean, when you're talking about coaches, I think there's Mike Babcock and everybody else. I really do, and intangibles in this series to me are massive because I couldn't agree with you more. Rask is probably going to be the guy that ends up being the Vezina Trophy winner. I mean, that he should be. And I think, defensively, the Red Wings out of the playoff teams might have the poorest defense core from top to bottom. I mean, all kidding aside. And, Hank obviously is a big factor. But again, I think matchups on a team-to-team basis as opposed to just like looking at the blank sheet and seeing, I think matchups are massive. And they match up well in the regard that they're going to play disciplined. And as long as they can avoid the Bruins going Bruins. And when I say that, I don't mean disrespect. I really don't. I mean,
they're probably the most complete team in the NHL.
No question.
You can't really disrespect it.
And you know what? Milan Lucic is going to try to get under their skin.
Yep.
And Brad Marchand's going to try to get under their skin. You can't engage. Don't do it. Because the second you engage, that's when that smile gets on their face. You're not going to out-Bruin the Bruins. You're not going to do it. So play your game, and I think the Red Wings have a decent chance. Look, I think the Bruins are going to win the series.
Yeah, me too.
I'd be lying if I said otherwise. But I'm seeing all these people say Bruins in 5, and this is a mismatch. I'm not so sure about that.
I won't be surprised if we have the same scenario we had when the Blackhawks won the Stanley Cup, and we looked back and we went, the best challenge to them was the Red Wings.
Yeah.
I think it's very possible that the Bruins go through this whole thing, win the Stanley Cup, and we look back and go, who gave them the best run? Maybe the Red Wings.
Yeah.
But again, I'm not picking the Wings to win because it is a 1 seed and ultimately a 16 seed. there's just too much to overcome.
I think the East, there isn't a lot of intrigue in the East other than the matchup problems that I think the first 2 rounds could potentially show for the Boston Bruins. If Montreal gets past Tampa, I think Montreal matches up even better against the Bruins. And, that would be epic. That's hearkening days gone by, Montreal and Boston. How many times have we seen that over the years and everything? But
I cannot root against the Red Wings, but how badly do you want to see Montreal-Boston? I'm dying for it.
Oh, it's
it's
awesome.
Great.
It'd be a tremendous series. And, there's not only the bad blood that's been there forever, but there's new bad blood between the teams as well. But, first things first, I think the Bruins have to dispatch of the Red Wings. I don't think it's going to be easy. Look, I think if you pick another team other than the Bruins to come out of the East, you're just trying to be different. I really do. I'm taking Pittsburgh. I'm taking Montreal. I think if you're picking
hard to
somebody,
argue Pens, but
for me though, the Marc-Andre Fleury thing and some of the deficiencies on their blue line, I still don't think that they've addressed that.
The magician of disappearing, blanking on his name, not Crosby, the other
Malkin?
one.
Yeah, he and James
Evgeny
Neal
Malkin
have something
disappears in the playoffs.
They have something cute going on right now too. It's that'll be intriguing to see. I'm a big James Neal fan. The intrigue to me comes in the West. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think both you and we talked about this a few weeks ago. You had to like the Blues, and then the Blues went and made us look pretty good for a few weeks there, with that surge.
Yeah.
And now they're going through a losing streak, and that's obviously a tough matchup for them, to say the least. I think in the West you could pull out a dartboard and put 5 team names out there and close your eyes and fire that dart at the board, and whichever one it lands on, that's the team. That sounds good. Sure,
Yeah.
I'll take them.
I see 2 teams in the West that would shock me if they moved on. All the rest makes sense. And oddly enough, they were both originally from Minnesota.
Yeah, imagine how that works itself out. No, I tend to agree with you with Dallas. I mean, I think Nil did a tremendous job getting the Stars into the playoffs, and now they're building the right way and getting a young player like Tyler Seguin and taking advantage of the draft and everything. But I mean, my goodness gracious, they don't have a long life. I know a lot of people, they think that's the upset special. And speaking of guys that kind of have to overcome some playoff demons, Boudreau has done a tremendous job with the Ducks, much like he did a tremendous job in Washington. But yet, at the end of the day, it's hanging over his head. Where's the playoff success? They've been, his coach teams have been knocked off so many times early in the playoff, including last year, that I think that has made the Stars, for some people, a chic and, fashionable pick. I don't see the Stars beating the Ducks, though. I don't see that.
I'm Steve Black with Sean Baligian. We'll come back, go through the whole bracket. Sound good?
Yeah, sounds perfect.
A couple of sponsors we actually have to mention since we're doing our first video shoot.
Ooh.
Have you ever done a video cast before? I know you've done newscasts for many years.
I don't know if I have. I probably one doesn't come to mind. One doesn't. I'm still trying to figure out why somebody thought it'd be a good idea to put my mug on television. I mean, look, I'm a slob, but hey, this is cool. I like this.
I like original television. It's good.
Yeah.
Everybody shouldn't look like Barbie and Ken.
That's what.
I don't need that.
Can I give my own plug? I think that's what I love about the way Fox 2 does things. I mean, look at some of the people that they've kind of introduced to, Charlie LaDuff.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Charlie. Look at everything about. But he's an original, man. Charlie's great.
Yeah. And Detroiters tend to embrace the original guys. So.
It's amazing how that works out.
That's how your ugly mug got on TV.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we are at Malash's Palace Chrysler Jeep. What do you drive anyway? Curious.
Am I allowed to say?
Yeah, go for it.
I drive a Ford.
You know why I asked that?
Why?
Because I thought that you drove a Ford. This is just, I don't even know why this came to mind. I'm 47 years old. I've never owned a Ford.
Really?
In my entire life. I've probably owned 16, 17 cars.
You know what that comes back to?
Never, ever had one.
You know what that comes back to?
The way you were raised?
Exactly. No, I'm telling you, seriously. That it's just like you were talking about, how you grew up going to IHL games and stuff like that. I think a lot of times that stuff is deeply seated, like how you were raised. What your parents had,
right.
what they got you when you were younger. Or I bought a lemon from my dad. It was pretty cool. Yeah. My own father sold me a lemon. Go figure.
Well, my first car was a Trans Am, oddly enough.
Really?
Yeah, I swear to God.
Did you have the big giant Firebird on the front, like the old Firebird car?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yep.
That's so good.
And but I'm not a big car guy. Never have been.
Yeah, neither am I.
But like I've always said, if I won the lottery, I don't need an Alfa Romeo. I don't need a Maserati. I'd get a Jeep. I've always been a Jeep person.
Yeah.
Always been a
I
Jeep
love
person.
Jeeps. No,
and this is
you.
my dealership, which is why they invited us to come in and do it live. If we're going to do a video cast anyway, who wants to see two guys sit in their basement? So they invited us into the dealership to do it here.
Yeah, you know what? When I'm older and retire, like 2 years from now, I want a Jeep and I want to go live like on a sand dune and I'll just drive my Jeep all day.
Yes, sir.
What'd you do today? I drove my Jeep. Cool.
And then helping out with the video shoot is my buddy Sparky, who's worked for me forever.
What's up, Sparky?
And CreativeSparkCommunications.com is his website. So anybody wants to check out anything from Sparky, we can do that. Let's come back and run through the brackets on how the NHL is going to run down. And then in a little while, it is the final day for the Pistons. And I want to talk about the changing of the guard there. And Palace is within walking distance. So let's do that.
You got it, man.
This is Baligian and Black.